Good Wednesday morning, friends, or afternoon or evening, or whenever you might happen to join together in this time to pause and reflect on our faith together. For those that I don't know, I'm Reverend Jennifer Finley, our Momentum and Discipleship pastor here at First United Methodist Church in Kirksville. And I don't know where you might be this morning, but if you are anywhere near Kirksville, it is finally not cold, although it is a kind of dreary, rainy spring morning. And I hope and pray that whatever this morning is bringing for you, weather-wise, out in the world or in yourself, that you do take a moment to pause with me, to take a deep breath, to center ourselves, and to reflect on our faith together. As I've been reflecting these last couple of days, I know I've been asking myself a question, and I've heard it from a few other folks that goes something along the lines of, now what? Now what? We've done Easter. We've had Easter Sunday morning, and for those who joined us online or in person, it was a joyous, wonderful Sunday morning. But often we lead up to Easter and then we ask, now what? In our lives outside of church, lots of things are happening in our world as our students are preparing for graduations and as our college students simply have a few more weeks of the semester going. And I know for many of us, immediately our minds have to turn to new things. Other things on our list to do and get done. And we might not feel like we have time to simply take a deep breath and wonder about now what. I've had some folks say, is Easter over? Well, no, it's not, because our resurrection season continues in the church life for a season. And of course, every Sunday we celebrate a resurrection day. But as we are in this kind of in-between time, not quite yet spring, not quite yet summer, things are beginning and ending in the lives of the academic calendars, and we are in Eastertide or Easter season in the church year. As we're doing that, I think it's particularly appropriate to ask the question we ask each week: where have we seen God show up for us? Not simply in the big high point moments, but in those ordinary moments, even in those now what moments. I know for me, sometimes those are the places where I recognize God's presence most strongly if I'm willing to pay attention. So I was thinking about that question for myself. Where have I seen God made present and tangible to me over the last week? And of course, all of our worship services, there were ways in which I felt God's presence. But the moment that has stood out as I've reflected is actually something quite ordinary. It was eating a bowl of chili. Last Thursday evening, before I came back into this space to worship together with many of you for Maundy Thursday. That sounds like a very ordinary thing, but it was a gift from a friend who knew I had a busy week, and she had texted and simply said, can I bring you something? Do you need a casserole or some chili? And my instinct often in those situations is to graciously say, thank you so much, but I'm good. But this one time I decided, no, actually I could really use a warm, hot meal that somebody else has prepared. And it was a beautiful gift, a very simple bowl of chili. And as I ate it, I felt God's love. I felt the tangible love of a friend and God's presence through that. And so I'm wondering for you, what are the places, the very ordinary moments where God's love has shown up for you? Or maybe what are the ways and the places in which a very ordinary action of yours has been received as God's presence by others? Because that is part of what we do in this resurrection season is we say, like Mary Magdalene said, I have seen the Lord, and we live as if we have. And sometimes that means offering very ordinary but very holy moments to others. So God showed up for me in a very simple bowl of chili. And I'm wondering where God is showing up for you in these ordinary moments of these days. Many of you who've been joining us on these daily devotions during Lent know that we have been using this book by Kate Bowler, Good Enough, as a guide. And I know many of you have read through that with us. I'll simply say that if you haven't, it's not too late to pick it up. It's not specific to Lent necessarily, and there's some beautiful things in here. And I'll admit to being a little sad that the ending has come to that. I may go back and read some of the blessings and the devotions because I think they speak into all kinds of times, but I'll admit that I'm not quite ready for our journey with this book to end. And so as we've been thinking about ordinary moments, I thought I would conclude with a blessing. It's the final blessing in this book, and I think it fits this season, the season where we are resurrection people, but we might be asking, now what? A good enough blessing. Blessed are you, dear heart, when you feel it again. You had a moment there that felt perfect and certain and complete. Like you could taste the enoughness and the satisfaction. And you thought, I could live here forever. And then, and then, and then. You were pulled unwillingly into this changed reality. You blinked and there it was, a new and terrible address. Here where there is something wrong, here in the unfixable, unworkable, here in a world that can't stay still long enough to be perfected, at least not by us. And blessed are we, realizing with relief that we can set aside the project of our own perfectibility and name it for what it is, the place of almost. We are stuck a quarter turn away from the beauty and fulfillment that our souls have glimpsed and our hearts crave. Blessed are we, the loved, who gather up the truths we need to live here: beauty, love, joy, acceptance, community, and more than a touch of courage. We are learning to remain in between the discomfort of what is and what might never be. Blessed are we, letting ourselves be stilled and quieted in that love, to take on only what we are given to do. And sighing, we ask ourselves to get up again and take the next right, tiny step, walking together where God promises to meet us once again. I love that, friends. I think this blessing is something beautiful for all times and all seasons. And so in this time, in this season of Easter, my hope and my prayer is that you might be met by God in those beautiful, ordinary, almost not perfect moments, and that you might also be the person that is God's presence to others in those almost not perfect but still beautiful ways. And I would love to hear about it. So if you have moments like that you have experienced, please feel free to share them. Come by the office or put something in the comments or write us a note. Share them with somebody. And if you have a moment where you have been that for other people, share that as well. There is beauty in our community coming together. Go in peace, my friends. Amen.